Shazam Fury of the Gods is the latest DC movie to be released that honestly feels more like a Marvel movie. Now, in regards to this film, that's really not a bad thing, as the more lighthearted approach to this franchise is something that they established in the first Shazam movie and really fits this tone of the character and the way that they're trying to display him, especially with the fact that he is, in fact, a child. And to be totally honest with you, this is better than just about all of the Marvel movies that we've received recently. I had a great time with this film. It is not exactly the same breath of fresh air that the first Shazam film was for the DC universe, but there's a lot to love in this movie. It continues Shazam's streak of making very entertaining and fun adventures for the whole family. I am a big fan of this character so far, and one of the things that I love about this movie in particular is that you get to see a lot more of the family, and particularly with how the ending of the first one went, where they all get their powers, you get more of that side to things than this one, seeing all of them working as a hero team. And I really enjoyed the fact that you get to know all of those characters a little bit more personally. It still definitely focuses on a certain couple of them, but it's nice to have a little bit more with the others. Billy Batson is your standout character in this one. He's still the lead role, and he does a great job. I really enjoyed Zachary Levi's take and the way that he's able to play a teenager who's now an adult who has superpowers. It's not quite played as well. It doesn't have that same kind of feel as the first one, but it's very similar, although he's much older in this film. He's something like 18, 19 years old. He still acts a little bit young, so you would expect him to be maybe just a little bit more mature, but other than that, he's very entertaining. The villains of this film were also quite good. The Daughters of Atlas and everything that they bring to the table, they're very menacing. And I also liked the fact that they do have some real motivation behind the things that they're doing. And deep down, really, they're not exactly these like evil people. They just have been wronged in the past, and they're trying to fix the things that have happened to them. And so it leads to some great stuff there. And I do like how the characters work together in this movie, both the villains and the heroes. Another thing that's great about this film is the story. And the story is really not complicated, but it really doesn't need to be. It's about these sisters showing up, and it kind of actually reminds me, just the way that it sets up, it just feels a lot like kind of like a video game battle royale with this stage and this arena, and they're just fighting stuff, and they're just trying to protect people. And so there's a very simple element to it, but the story works, and what it does is it paves the way for this movie to be very entertaining in a lot of different ways. Most notably for me was in its humor. It's a very lighthearted film. There's a lot of great humor to it. I had me laughing quite a bit throughout the film. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of action, especially when it comes to the Shazamily and them battling the various monsters that make an appearance throughout this film. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of it as we got towards the finale, to be able to see them just fighting together a little bit more. It does kind of get a little bit more separated as far as the characters towards the end, but it's still really entertaining. Another thing that is great about this film is that not only does it have great action and does it have great humor, but also has a lot of just great messages behind it, in the fact that it's working together as a team, it's working as a family, that we're able to succeed and able to accomplish the things that we need to accomplish. And that's always just a great message to see in the movies, because you don't always get that. Fast and Furious is probably the most common film that talks so much about family, and this actually makes some jokes in regards to that as well.
I'm not super old like you, but I've seen all of the Fast and the Furious movies, lady. It's all about family.
It does have a lot of pop culture kind of jokes, and that was all very entertaining. As a cleanliness side of things, it is a very family-friendly movie. You can tell that they definitely lean towards making it so that most ages could watch this, because it is a movie that centers on family, and it's a family that consists of multiple age groups. So everything in this is really clean, other than the fact that there's a lot of action, as I mentioned, and it's not really anything gory or bloody or anything like that, but there is plenty of it. And there are a few moments that are actually semi-dark. They're very few and they're far between, but there's an occasional thing that happens that was kind of like, Wasn't really expecting them to do that, but at the same time, it really didn't take away from the overall lighthearted feel of the movie. And so I really enjoy that. I think that this is a great film. It's not one that I would say is amazing. It definitely does follow a very simple formula. It definitely just is there to be entertaining, not to really do anything new or exciting for the superhero genre. But for what it gave us, I had a good time with it. A lot of people aren't giving it the greatest reviews. The theater that I went to was not particularly full, but I'd recommend checking it out. I think that if you enjoyed the first one, maybe you won't like this one quite as much, but I still think you're going to have a good time with it. I think if you're a fan of Marvel movies, you'll enjoy this type of film. If you're a fan of the other DC films, maybe it depends on what you like from them. You might enjoy this one. It's not quite as dark or some of those other films have been, but I still think you might like it. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a B. But anyways, guys, have you had the opportunity to see Shazam Fury of the Gods? If you have, let us know down in the comments what you thought, and I'll see you all in the next video.